If you're looking to get into the estate agency world, but you've got no experience behind you, then this is the video for you. You see, a lot of people out there don't apply to be an estate agent because they've got no experience in the property world. They don't even bother applying. But the reality is, it's that belief exactly which is holding you back, not your CV. My name is Chris Webb. I'm the owner of the Estate Agent Consultancy. I've been an agent for over 20 years. I now train and coach the top UK estate agents to be the obvious choice for sellers in their local area. Now I get it. Changing to a new industry can be intimidating. It can be daunting, but once you get through that initial stage of kind of not knowing on earth what is going on, it can be a really smart move for your career. Now you need to understand that in an estate agency business, you're not just employing someone just to do a job. Instead, you're looking for someone who can represent your business well, can fix problems, but can also bring in business to the estate agency as well. Any employer in an estate agency business will be thinking, can this person correctly communicate with our clients? Can they build trust with them? And ultimately, can they win us instructions to go on and sell? You see, what you're hiring for here is ultimately the output from yourself. It's not the background where you've come from beforehand. You see, at its core, estate agency is a people business first of all, but it's also a performance business as well. So anybody who's interviewing you or considering your CV, we think of yourself, can you communicate correctly with our clients we're working with at the moment? Can you solve problems and can you advance our business from where it is today? So therefore you need to reflect this in the way you're answering questions, but also on your CV as well. Can you handle pressure? Can you communicate well with people? Can you solve problems? And ultimately, can you be trusted to get more business for that estate agency? Now, a lot of people really underestimate how many transferable skills they have already just from living their life and communicating with people day in, day out. This might be where you went to school with, it might be friends, it might be family, but you are communicating with people all day long. That is a skill that you can use in a estate agency. Now, someone once told me a metaphor for this. Let's say we had two options. One option is to understand every single thing about the property market, what things have sold for, what they've completed for, every single thing about building a house, selling a house. That is one option we can go for. Or we can understand every single thing to do with people, communication, how we engage with them, what they expect, what they don't expect. Which one of those would you pick? The reality is, if you get on well with people and you can engage with them correctly, chances are the rest of the job is going to be quite easy. So for myself, I've worked in a sales role since I was about 18 years old or so, and that has pretty much exclusively been property. But if you were to put me into a pen shop, for example, to sell pens, those skills would be transferable. But instead of talking about hundreds of thousands of pounds and millions of pounds, we're talking about £3 instead. But those skills are massively transferable because we're still just dealing with people and what they want to get from an equation, whether that is a house or a pen. Therefore, so if you've worked in some sort of job where you've worked in customer service, for example, you've worked in some sort of sales environment, any job where you're dealing with lots of people, such as hospitality, for example, this can give you really good fitting to go forward because you've already developed those skills that you're going to need in a estate agency. Things like resilience, communication, and fixing problems when they're presented to you. So let's talk about how most people get this wrong. And I see this every single day. People will start their CV or start an interview by saying, I've got no estate agency experience, but, and automatically that puts you on the back foot because you've highlighted the big elephant in the room that you've got no experience. And then you're trying to dig yourself out of that hole by saying, but I've worked in hospitality, or I've worked, and already you're on -1 before you even finish that sentence. Instead, you want to talk about what you bring to the table. And as we talked about, these are things like communication, service, competitiveness, wanting to win business for that estate agency, make them the #1 estate agency in town, personal service, dealing with people, interacting with clients to provide a brilliant service from start to finish. These are the things that are going to be absolutely music to the ears of anybody who is interviewing with you. People aren't expecting you to have a huge amount of estate agency experience before you've even started in the industry. That just wouldn't be right. What you can come forward with is to say, look, I may not have sold properties before, but I've got all these transferable skills that I can transfer into that role. I've got the service side, I've got the communication side, I've dealt with awkward customers before, and this is how I've resolved it. So you can show you've dealt with the same sort of issues and things you're going to run into every single day in the estate agency world, but instead you dealt with it in a restaurant environment, for example, or you dealt with it with regard to your friends or your family, and you dealt with these issues, and this is how you've overcome it. Because ultimately you're going to be meeting a lot of people in your job. And some of those people, you'd be like, oh my God, like we would be best mates outside this whole house buying process. But some of them, you'll meet a 90-year-old old lady and you think to yourself, I have to get on with her. We have to have things in common, and she was born in 1935. What have we got in common? So therefore, you need to be a chameleon. So the more you can get across that you've spoken to and dealt with a wide range of people, the better your application is going to come through. Okay, so let's talk about how to get your CV from the point of just being a CV in a pile to the one where you are selected. Now, this is going above and beyond. There is a really low bar of entry with regard to applying for jobs these days. Upload your CV online, click to apply, CV goes off, see you later. Now, good news, bad news. Good news is that makes it really easy to apply for jobs. The bad news is it makes it really easy for everyone else to apply for the same jobs. So for example, I put an advert up a few months ago. We had 300 applications overnight, which, as you might imagine, took a little while to go through. And in that situation, everyone was on the same playing field because no one followed the steps we're going to talk through next. So for example, in that situation, I make it my mission to be easy to be found on social media. So we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, we're on every single platform you can think of because I want to make it easy for people to find us. What would make you stand out from the crowd really quickly? Message me on LinkedIn and say, hey, hope you're okay, Chris. Really exciting news. I've just applied for that job you put online, by the way. Here's my experience. Really looking forward to meeting with you in the future. Or record a quick video saying, hey, Chris, hope you're okay. Thought I'd just send you a quick video to introduce myself. I've actually applied for the job through yourself. Here's why I think I'll be a brilliant candidate. Anyway, you'll find my name as this. There's my CV. Let me know if you've got any questions on it. We'll catch up soon. So was that as easy as pressing click to apply? No, but did it make me stand out from the crowd very quickly? Absolutely. So we should be looking at this going, what can I do to go above and beyond? And sales is usually about chasing people up. So for example, the average person before they buy something in the UK usually needs to be kind of chased or nudged about 5 to 12 times. So that's the sort of number of times before someone purchases something. If I just get one CV on my desk, I can put it in the bin quite easily. Whereas on the other side of things, if you message me directly on LinkedIn, for example, or you send me a DM, or you send me a separate email, for example, these things are going to make you stand out from the crowd. But also, if you've not heard from me in a day or two's time, hey Chris, hope you're okay. Just checking in with yourself. I sent my CV across a couple of days ago. You haven't gone back to it at all yet. Just wanted to check you got it all okay. I'll reattach it to this email. I'll be thinking, this person's pretty tenacious. And guess what I want in a salesperson who works in my estate agency? I want somebody who's going to be tenacious and follow things up. And that's exactly what you're proving with your CV process. What you shouldn't be thinking about here is how do I do my CV and just send it off? Because that isn't going to make you stand out from the crowd. You should, how do I send this CV off and make it so I'm the obvious choice to go forward with this person? So literally how I got my first job in a estate agency, I wrote out my CV on one side of A4. No such thing as ChatGPT back then, so I actually had to type it myself over the days. Then I had to write out a covering letter to go with it as well on top of it and say, I am Chris, this is who I am, this is what I've done historically, and this is how I think I can help your estate agency business. I then hand delivered that one evening to every single estate agency in the entire town. I had an interview the next day. So that shows how you can make yourself stand out from the crowd. Now, were any of those places actually wanting people to work for them? No. But my CV dropped on the mat on the right day with the right covering letter, and they're like, actually, we're not hiring this exactly today, but I think it's probably about the right sort of time. So let's go for it. Let's get that person in. So that's what I mean by going above and beyond. If you can do that correctly when it comes to you applying for jobs, you can do it correctly when it comes to you actually working in the estate agency world. But going above and beyond doesn't just stop at when you apply for the job. So for example, if you turned up on an interview and I said to you, so what do you know about my company? Which, small disclaimer, is my favorite and first question to ask on any interview I go through. If they turn around and say, oh, well, I know you're a consultancy business and I know you help estate agents, I'll be like, oh, what a genius. Or they come through and say, actually, I know you launched this period of time. I've researched you on LinkedIn. I know you offered this. I know you offered that. That seems to be working really well. I listened to your podcast on this. I'll be thinking to myself, this person is actually going for it. They actually want this job because they put the work in the background. So for example, this is quite an easy thing to do. AI can help you out with it. Go onto people's Rightmove page, go on their websites, learn as much you possibly can do about their business. You can say, look, I know you've got about 50 properties up for sale at the moment. You've got about 20 under offer, which looks really good. I love that property you just put on the market in New Road. I'll be thinking, I literally put that on yesterday. This guy's saying that he really likes the look of it. That's a good thing to look at. Or I looked to your social media and I thought that post you did last week was really, really good. I saw the one that got 15 likes. That was really good. I think you should do more of those. That was brilliant. I've been thinking, this guy's not only looked at my properties on Rightmove and given me a bit of feedback on them, he's also looked at our social media as well. That's a really key thing to do. Do not be the person that turns up on an interview and says, oh, you're an estate agent, you sell properties. And it's like, oh, I didn't realize I was interviewing Sherlock Holmes. Of course we sell properties. Go above and beyond. Research the directors on LinkedIn. Look at the business on Rightmove. Look at their website. Look at their socials. It will probably take you all of about 15 minutes to do. It isn't a big deal. You can literally do it in the car before the interview if you're worried about forgetting things. And then we can go forward and say, actually, I've researched your business. I've put the work into it. I've put my best foot forward. And instead of just turning up and expecting you to ask questions of me, I've come forward and I know this, I know that, I know you're trying to do this in the future. You've listed this house, you've sold this house, you're having a bit of a push into the premium market. Therefore, tell me something I don't know. You're going in the right direction by going above and beyond. That will make you stand out from the crowd very quickly. Hopefully, if you've watched the video until this point, you'll have a really clear understanding that experience in a estate agency, although it's a good thing to have, it is far from a deal breaker. In fact, you having the mindset and the skill to deal with clients, fix problems, be proactive, and actually get sales and income for the business is the key factors we're going for. And there's a really easy ways and steps we can go through, right the way through from the CV we are producing to the way we apply for jobs and the way we turn up on interviews as well, going above and beyond at every single step. This process is going to leave that interviewer in such a mindset that this person is an absolute rocket. If I don't hire them, someone else in my town is going to hire them. And I don't want them to be the best-selling negotiator for someone else in my town. I want to make sure I secure them. That is a really good place to be. So you need to see it's not about experience, but it's how you position yourself for that role going forward. Okay, so that is a wrap on today's video. Hopefully that's helped you give an idea about how to make yourself stand up in the crowd when it comes to getting into the estate agency world. If you'd like a free copy of my best-selling book, Your First £100,000 Estate Agency, you can download that directly by DMing us the word book over on Instagram. The link is just below this video. I'll catch you on the next one.